Hello and welcome to Sue Finley Designs. Today's video very nearly didn't become a video because I was in two minds whether to upload this one or not, but after sharing the photo on the Facebook group, quite a few people had asked for the video, so here it is. So this video this week is on how I created this piece behind me with all the texture and the lacing and everything on there. There's not much to this one. I've actually done texture pieces before, so that's why I was in two minds whether to upload it. It was also not in my usual style. I've gone a lot more abstracty on this one, so again I wasn't sure whether it was worthy of being uploaded, but I've listened to what people had to say and so I'm doing just that. So without further ado, let's get into how I created this piece. Okay, so for the texture I'm using multi-purpose filler. You can use wood filler or wall filler, anything you can get your hands on. I'm just applying it with the spatula and then using my hand to spread it about in the design that I want. And with the fingers you get a good ridges and things happening in the texture, and that's the kind of texture that I'm looking for in this piece. And then once I have the basic design, I'm now scraping off part of the texture to have flatter pieces, so it's more feathery, because the idea was to give it almost like wings sort of feel, so that's what I was trying to achieve here. So again, just using my fingers, I'm just spreading that about a bit. So once I'm happy with that, I'm now going to prime the front of the board. I've already done the back with 2 coats. I did that before I even started and left that to dry. So now that this filler has been drying overnight, it's now time to prime the board, and I'm using a brush initially to get into all the crevices in the texture, and then I'll go over it with a foam roller just to cover the bulk of the board, and I'll give this 2 coats, making sure that I do the sides and things as well. So now that that's dry, it's been left for a couple of days, I'm now applying the resin. Now what I wanted to achieve here was the inner workings of the feather areas to have blue with a darker edge closer to the texture, and then the outer edges to have gold, and then I'm going to use my fingers to blend the colours, but not blend them too much because I want the colours to remain dominant in their own space, if that makes sense. So like I say, I'm just going to go around and start moving it around my fingers. Now I'm using the dark colours to go over the texture, but only because I only want a thin layer, so I'm just very lightly brushing that over because I want the white of the texture to actually shine through. So I'm only spreading that out lightly on the texture, and then using my fingers just going around the board to blend it as best I can, but like I say, not to muddy it too much. As always, I'll go around the board doing the sides, just using my hands to spread that about, and using the heat gun to pop any bubbles. So I'm just adding a little bit more of the darker colour, which was the steel. Now I'll put a list of the colours and products that I use in the description as always, but for the dark colours I'm using steel. The blue is a cosmic blue, and then satin gold, but like I say, I'll list that in the description. So what I've done now is I've actually mixed a little bit of Lorez Angel White in with the resin and added a couple of drops of mineral turpentine. Now the reason for this is I wanted to create some lacing. Now the resin underneath, because I've been working on this now for a good hour, has started to cure, so the white is just sitting on the top, but with adding the mineral turpentine, that's helping the white to create some lacing. So I like to use mineral turpentine to create lacing, but with this particular white you don't actually need any additives or anything because this will create lacing by itself, but this is just something that I've got used to doing and I quite like doing that. So I'm just adding extra highlights in areas that I think that it needs it. So just to add a little bit of extra texture and dimension, because I felt that in some places it was a little bit flat. So by adding the white and the lace in, it gives it it lifts it a little bit and gives it a bit more contrast. And once I'm happy with the whole areas of white in this piece, I will then use some gold spray paint to add some further dimension. So mainly the gold will go over the satin gold, and it adds extra depth because you've got the two-tone of the two golds working well together. So for instance, what I'm doing here is I'm just adding it in specific areas, so mainly where the gold is, but I will drag it through the blue so you've got the gold going through contrasting colours as well. Another reason for using the gold spray paint is that when the light hits it, you get a real shine from it. You get the gold really standing out, and it gives it a different feel and different moods throughout different times of the day. So I really like working with gold spray paint, and silver spray paint for that matter, because for the same reason you get a real high shine off it. So just giving that another quick zap with the heat gun. And now, as you can see, the lacing that you get with the white, we're just adding a little bit of mineral turpentine to it, and also the gold highlights how they add extra dimension and texture through the other gold. So you've got two types of gold going on there. So when you've got your close-up detail like this, you can see how much depth is going on in this piece. So it actually turned out quite well. I wasn't sure about it at first, but the more I'm looking at it close up, the more I'm actually liking it. So I hope you enjoyed this one too. For those of you who are very new to resin or not yet used resin, you might be interested to know that I'm in the process of writing an ebook, The Essential Beginner's Guide to Resin Art Techniques. I'll put a link to the pre-order in the description below. Also, if you like using texture in your resin, go and check out some of my other videos within my channel. I have a range of different ideas for using texture within your resin pieces, and there's plenty of things in there to inspire your creativity. Also, if you would like me to create a particular type of video, please leave a comment below and I will do my best to accommodate your request. Thank you.